Joined now by Mike Rogers, former congressman, former FBI agent, future senator from Michigan. Good morning, Mike. Welcome back.
Hugh, it is good to be back. Always good to hear your voice, my friend.
I want to start with the border, Congressman, because you're an FBI guy, and we've had 50,000 Chinese nationals cross the border in the last 2.5 years. What does that tell you?
Well, it tells us that we have bigger problems ahead. And what we've seen with the Chinese from the national security perspective, Hugh, is that they're very, very good about recruiting Chinese nationals operating in the United States, either for to enable cyber espionage, human espionage, other things. And so now you have this literal army of Chinese military-age men primarily operating in the country somewhere. We don't know where they are. We don't know what they're up to. We don't know what their intentions are. And that is just a vast recruiting pool for Chinese military and intelligence services. So it's dangerous, and it's dangerous if it were 1,000, let alone 50,000.
Now, Congressman, I keep telling people that we've got to, the FBI cannot have resources devoted to tracking down Latin Mass attending Catholics. They've got to pay attention to who's come over the border. Is the agency nimble enough to change direction and reallocate resources to the threat at hand, which has been created over the last 3 years?
You know, the largest case today is still hunting down January 6th. Apparently illegal parading is the last round of arrests, which is absolutely ridiculous. We have a fentanyl crisis that's killed 100,000 Americans last year, 3,000 Michiganders. My argument is there should be no other cases other than who are these people coming across on the terrorist list. Remember this just Chechen, known for its terrorist recruitment and violence, had an event down in Texas where they was killed by a special forces guy at his home, right?
I think North Carolina, Congressman. North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah. Sorry, thank you. Which tells you how aggressive they're being, number one, using the southern border. Now you have this Chinese problem. You're going to have other terrorist nation states trying to put people in. You saw the Hamas arrest in the South not that long ago trying to build a bomb. I mean, these are huge problems. Yes, they can do it, but it takes leadership. And the one thing Washington, D.C. doesn't have right today is leadership. There's just none there. And so the Bureau needs to be absolutely refocused. I think it needs a leadership change to focus on criminal activity, get its independence back from the political Department of Justice. And by the way, we should clean up the political nature of the Department of Justice as well. I mean, it's just doing such a huge disservice to America. And people don't trust the FBI anymore. That's a huge problem for them.
It is. I want to focus on one more example, Congressman, then go large on Director Wray and who should replace him. Using your FBI background, I'll just give you the only facts the public knows. A Jordanian national illegally crossed the San Diego border in April. He hooked up with a Jordanian national who had entered legally on a student visa, but it was expired. And those two Jordanian nationals drove a truck up to Quantico, represented they worked for Amazon and needed to get in to go to the post office on the base. They were detained and they're in detention now because you can't fool the Marines that easily. What does that fact pattern tell you that one came around the wall where the wall ended and one was already here, they connected and they got to Quantico? What immediately goes through your mind?
This was a completely planned operation. This is, and I'm not sure what affiliate they have. Could be ISIS, could be Al-Qaeda, could be ISIS-K. All of these are terrorist groups who want to harm the United States. Could be Hezbollah, could be Hamas. All of those organizations, what Americans are really important to understand, will take great pains to plan operations to do this. And if you can just stroll in or get here by a visa with an unvetted process, guess what? You're going to take advantage of it. They're going to try to harm Americans. This is, to me, is a shining example of how that weak border or no border is actually causing us real risk. And, man, we got to do something about it yesterday.
Now, you've got a particular political problem in Michigan or a political challenge. I won't call it a problem. You have an enormous Arab American population, 95% of whom are extraordinary patriots and maybe more. But you also have the danger of being accused of being anti-Arab if you talk about ISIS, Al Qaeda, the Taliban, not Iran, but Iraq and Kuwait and the various things. How do you handle that as you campaign in Detroit, Congressman? Because if you can get your numbers up in Detroit just a little bit, you're going to win every other part of the state.
Yeah, and people are tired of what they see here. There's a change happening here in Michigan. Working people are getting crushed by grocery prices and gas prices, and they can't buy homes. They can't get interest rate loans that can make their budgets work. Here's the thing in the Arab population. You have to understand they're conservative, they're family-oriented, they're very entrepreneurial. And so what we've been doing is having conversations in those communities about, hey, listen, worry about your business, worry about your kids' education. Are you really okay with having biological men compete against your daughter at high school in sports? And so talking to them about issues that affect them personally at home, we have found to be very, very effective. And to some credit, there's a group of leaders in the Dearborn area, and you hear a lot about Dearborn, who did condemn the statements of death to America, death to Israel. They came out very publicly and said, "Hey, we don't cotton to that." Listen, they're not. I'm very upfront with them about my stance on Israel. I'm not wavering on that. But we have found some common ground to talk about things that we all worry about with our families. They're going to worry about with their families. And I do think that coalition that was solidly Democrat is starting to crack, Hugh. And that's here in Michigan, that one's cracking. Auto workers hate EV mandates, and we should all hate EV mandates. And black,
Congressman, if we get Pennsylvania with Dave McCormick and Ohio with Bernie Moreno and Michigan with Mike Rogers, we'll have the Senate for 20 years. That will mean the blue wall is broken. I think you can do it. What is your website, and how are you doing with small donors across the country?
We're doing great, and it's getting better. And so the more people know about our race, think of this, we're statistically in a dead heat with the Democrat going into November. Never been there in Michigan this far out. So that means we can continue to build on that and actually start moving out into the lead. RogersForSenate.com, ROGERS, RogersForSenate.com. We need some help. We need folks from all over the country saying this is the end of the blue wall. This is where we put common sense back in Washington, D.C., and we're going to have adults in the room making decisions that will help families in Pennsylvania, in Ohio, and certainly right here in Michigan.
Okay, we got 1 minute for my alma mater, my law school alma mater. Do you even bother going into Ann Arbor? I mean, it's so deep blue. It's crazy, but there are some votes there, right?
Yeah, yes, but it's never so unfriendly a place and so few votes. There's so many places that we can go to try to get people excited. Listen, I will go anywhere in the state. I'll go to Dearborn. I'll go to downtown Detroit. We're working with black pastors now. I'll go into Ann Arbor. I've been invited to go. I'm going. Listen, sometimes it's uncomfortable, but the message of Republicans is hope. It is about a future. It is about a better way, and it's about government out of your life. That it can sell anywhere, and we're going to sell it everywhere.
RogersForSenate.com.